Mic check. One, two. Neetu, a little closer to the mic.
Like this?
Yeah, perfect.
Can everyone hear me?
Unfortunately, yes.
Hey!
And we're live in three, two.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whenever you're tuning in, you're listening to EAFM, where literature meets conversation. I'm Neetu.
And I'm Rashi. Whether you're reading along with the newsletter or simply listening, we're so glad you're here.
This special audio edition is our way of making the newsletter more interactive and a little more accessible too. So let's flip through this issue together. Our first feature is titled Literary Foundations of 80s by Swara Parab. Way before the curtains rise and the actors step onto the stage, every powerful performance begins with a story. It begins with literature. This journey came from page to stage when SIES College of Arts, Science and Commerce presented its very first one-act play, 80s, written and directed by Mr. Advait Paraskar and Mr. Gitesh Rane, third-year students of Mass Media Studies. Choosing such a sensitive topic for the college's debut production clearly reflected the team's commitment to meaningful storytelling. Set against the backdrop of the anti-Sikh riots, the story explores lives of four Sikh women struggling to survive the violence that erupted after the assassination of the late Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. With strong writing and precise execution, the students portrayed a chilling and horrifying picture of the situation through the lens of commoners. The strength of 80s lies not only in its performance, but also in its literary foundations. Research papers, documentaries, reports, and two major works, The Cause of 1984 by Sanam Sutirat Wazir and Turmoil in Punjab by Rameshinder Singh, played a very important role in understanding the mindset of society and how the situation escalated quickly before it could be brought under control. This proved crucial while writing the script and preparing the set, ensuring more accurate dialogues and deliveries according to the situation. With the help of The Cause of 1984, the play showcased themes such as domestic spaces becoming sites of violence, motherhood, separation, and grief by drawing upon the first-hand experiences of Sikh women during the anti-Sikh riots, while Turmoil in Punjab provided the political and historical context for the montage sequences in 80s. Mr. Gitesh Rane, in an interview shared, reading both The Cause of 1984 and Turmoil in Punjab allowed me to look at the incident from multiple viewpoints, making the writing process more balanced and responsible. The documented last speech of the late Prime Minister helped in portraying the stark contrast between the nation she envisioned and the reality that was unfolding, presenting a horrifying picture of the public outrage that swept across India. One of the most powerful moments in 80s is the portrayal of two contrasting images. While the Prime Minister speaks about the nation as one and the significance of motherhood, the other side of the stage shows a child calling out to his mother, trying to wake her up, unaware that she is no longer alive. By placing these events side by side, the play shifts the audience attention from political and historical to a more emotional and deeply personal tragedy. The intention is not to comment on the speech, but to portray the emotional realities experienced by families during the riots. From a powerful script to a compelling stage production, 80s reminds us that literature is more than just storytelling. It preserves the history, memories of the past, and inspires conversation. As SIS College's first step into the theatre realm, 80s marked as a memorable beginning and showed that the stories rooted in truth have the power to leave a lasting effect, even long after the curtains fall.
Wow, I really liked how this piece makes us think about the importance of literature, even for the performing arts like drama and acting. It reminds us that literature isn't just something we study, it's something we truly experience.
Exactly. And if this article got you thinking, that's already a good start.
So, up next we have Literature and Media by Neetu Nair. hmm, movies are better than books. No, books are better than movies. But wait, what if I tell you both enhance each other all the way through? We have a variety of ways to tell stories. We cannot separate the different ways of storytelling as these coexist together, shaping the way we view the world and how we share our stories. And so, literature and media, the two aspects of storytelling used widely around the world, influence each other. You might have thought of the Harry Potter series or the Hunger Games, both of which take storytelling from page to the screen. Conversely, though, you might not even have heard of the term novelization. Yes, media does influence literature. Take Star Wars, for example, The Revenge of the Sith. It's considered by many as one of the best Star Wars books and maybe even better than the movie. Novelization and the effect of movies on literature. Quentin Tarantino, the maker of the 2019 film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, has written a novelization on the same. In the 70s, movie novelizations were the first adult books I grew up reading, and to this day, I have a tremendous amount of affection for the genre. How does it technically affect the quality of literature? Have you heard of the phenomena of black and white dreams? Before the invention of color television, or rather before the popularity and access to color television grew, it is said that some people used to dream in black and white. If the way we dream can be influenced by television, why not literature? The way we think changes the way we write. If we think in black and white, we would write in black and white. Similarly, if we think cinematically, we would write cinematically. Literature has been historically prepared for the perception of expressive means of cinema. It is becoming more and more deceptive, which, as we know, was previously considered the prerogative of painting and subsequently of cinema. Cinema, in turn, is moving in the direction of accumulation of its own means of expression, the main ones of which are editing and variation of points of view with the help of tracked by floor cameras. Literature has been supplying cinema with depicted on the screen content. Adaptations and literature's influence on media. Consider William Shakespeare, the legendary English playwright and poet. His stories of comedy, tragedy, love, and revenge still reflect in our modern cinema. Indian literature also inspires media. In the 1980s, Ramanand Sagar's Ramayana and B.R. Chopra's Mahabharata captivated the entire nation. Literature is arguably the heart of a movie adaptation. It provides the world and characters required for the movies and series. It sets the tone, the setting, the dialogue, and the emotions. What literature can describe, moving pictures can show. All the complex emotions, emotional setup, and the world building in The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins help the audience understand and appreciate the minute details that are showcased on screens with all the movies. To conclude, literature and media influence and enhance each other, creating and retelling stories of different worlds. I suppose the next medium of storytelling, whatever it may be, would probably be influenced by both and would change the way we view both books and movies altogether.
I think what stood out to me here was the correlation of the effect of literature on movies to black and white movies on dreams. Sometimes the smallest observation make the strongest stories. The next article we have is named East and West by Reva Lavate. Interesting.
Yeah, it is about the cross-cultural representation. Let's read more to find out.
Yep. Literature and media are tools that influence the perspective of people and shape cultural identities. In turn, literature and media are shaped by the cultural background and ideological basis of the communities they originate from. Western communities emphasize individualism, whereas Eastern communities are rooted on the culture of collectivism. This cultural difference is evident in the literature and media. While cross-cultural depictions in literature and media are helpful in bridging the gap and creating a sense of understanding between Western and Eastern communities, they can also reinforce stereotypes and misconceptions and foster hostility. The representation of Western and Eastern communities in literature depends heavily on the regional origin of the work. Historically, Western literature often portrays the East as other, using phrases such as Orient or exotic. This is rooted in the idea of colonialism and Western supremacy. Western literature tended to depict Eastern communities as flat characters, occasionally leading into the trope of Eastern mysticism. The characters were either shown as mystic beings, waiting for Western salvation, or as dangerous villains. The white savior trope is widely found in Western literature. It propagates the idea that Eastern people need Western influence to live a civilized life. Conversely, Eastern literature portrayed Western communities as materialistic, selfish, or morally grey. However, there is also a sense of white supremacy that permeates through Eastern literature, especially the literature of those countries that experienced colonialism. Both Western and Eastern literature commit the fallacy of showing the West as a utopia, while the East is depicted as backward or uncivilized. This is also an after effect of colonization. However, contemporary literature and media is more nuanced and multidimensional. Diaspora studies have made way for a better understanding between two cultures. Cross-cultural representation is moving away from the stereotypical image of the communities and showing a deeper and more balanced understanding of the perspectives of the cultures. As Western and Eastern literature and media evolved to portray cross-cultural identities, they also began influencing each other. Eastern literature shaped the Romantic movement, which led to a fascination with the supernatural. For example, the work of Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, a great German poet, is heavily inspired by Persian poetry. Indian scriptures like the Upanishads impacted the transcendentalism movement. Themes such as universal truth and interconnectedness, which are found in Eastern literature, influenced many Western literary works. Lyricism, cyclical storytelling, and spiritual themes in Western literature were introduced by Eastern epics. On the other hand, Western realism and psychological depth were used by Eastern writers to criticize the rigid social structures of the East. Eastern authors mixed realism, modernism, and postmodernism with indigenous themes. This resulted in a unique blend of Western and Eastern literature, which was used by authors to tackle issues such as the effect of colonization through an Eastern lens. The influence of Western literature also popularized the linear mode of narration and widened the scope of literary tools available to Eastern authors. In conclusion, cross-cultural perspectives led to a more global outlook for literature. Although stereotypes and cross-cultural hostility still exist, the blend of Western and Eastern literature allows for a wider and more nuanced understanding between the cultures.
Wow, that was an interesting insight on the level of representation that both the East and West have.
It's coffee break time.
Uh, you know what that means.
It means I finally get to talk because these two haven't stopped talking for the last 10 minutes. Every good coffee break deserves a great soundtrack. And today's pick is Golden Brown by The Stranglers. There's something about its gentle melody and unhurried rhythm that makes it perfect for slowing down. So go, make yourself a coffee, stare dramatically out of the window, pretend you're the main character, or whatever works. We'll be here when you get back.
Golden brown texture like sun lays me down with my mind. She runs throughout the night. No need to fight, never a frown with golden brown. Every time, just like the last, on her ship tied to the mast, to distant lands, takes both my hands, never a frown with golden brown. Golden brown, fine a temptress. Through the ages she's heading west. From far away, stays for a day. Never a frown with golden brown.
And welcome back. Hope the coffee was worth it.
Mine definitely was.
Mine got cold because someone kept talking.
Oh, you're welcome.
Now, back to the newsletter. Now, for the highlight of this issue, our featured interview, a talk with an author.
This conversation gave us a chance to look beyond the books and meet the person behind them.
So sit back and enjoy a conversation with Dr. Vidya Hariharan.
Okay, everyone, serious voices,
Wait, serious?
professional serious.
That's asking a lot.
We are rolling.
You recently published the poetry collection, The Migrants and Other Poems. Could you introduce the book to our readers and tell us what they can expect from it?
Hi, Neetu. I've been writing short stories and poems and publishing my work in many national and international magazines for the last few years. The Migrants and Other Poems is my debut collection published in March 2026. There are several themes running through the poem.
Bye.
The main, the main one, which links all the 52 poems, is the city of Mumbai.
What was the starting point for this collection? Did you always intend to publish these poems as a book? Or did the idea of publication emerge later? How did the central theme of the collection take shape?
My father, who is now no more, came to Mumbai as a young man from Kerala. He was in search of a job like many others during the 1970s. As a child, I heard him relate anecdotes about his early life in Mumbai. It was called Bombay then. That's the starting point of my book. I always intended to write this book and dedicate it to my dad and to all those who came here, searching for fame, money, or a livelihood.
Poetry often invites multiple interpretations, with readers bringing their own experiences to a poem. How do you feel when someone discovers a meaning that is completely different from what you originally intended?
I would be happy in the knowledge that people are reading my book. Readers can interpret based on their prior experience and knowledge. That's what literature aims to do anyway.
Many readers imagine that writers simply wait for inspiration, but the reality is often more complex. Could you take us behind the scenes of your writing process? What does a typical day of writing, revising, or editing look like for you?
I write one poem a day. I sit with my laptop and allow myself to remember and try to make sense of things I've seen or experienced that day. It's a matter of discipline. Inspiration is fine, but it can be quite unreliable. Sometimes I return to a poem written a few days or weeks ago, reread, delete, or change a few words here and there.
How did you arrive at the title The Migrants and Other Poems? Was it something you had in mind from the beginning, or did it emerge only after the collection was complete?
All the poems revolve around the life experiences of a migrant. The struggle to learn a new language or to find affordable housing, food, making friends, it's a cultural shift.
What was the publishing journey like for the collection? Could you walk us through the process and perhaps share a challenge that readers usually don't realize authors face?
I sent my sample poems to 56 publishing houses over a period of a year. Many did not even bother to respond. Some sent a polite rejection letters, and some asked for a full manuscript. Some accepted. Then I had to go through agreements and finally make a choice. You have to be really patient.
Was there a moment during the writing or publishing process when you seriously doubted the project or considered giving up? If so, what helped you continue?
The thought of giving up never once entered my mind.
For aspiring poets who dream of seeing their work published someday, what is one misconception about writing or publishing that you wish more people understood? And what advice would you offer them?
Write every single day, even on the days you are tired. Getting your work published is not easy. Don't give up. Believe in your work. It helps if you have friends with aspiring poets and writers. You can share feedback, contacts, and stories.
Okay, one answer that really stayed with me was the one about quitting.
Mine too. It's so iconic, don't you think? It's always fascinating to hear how different people approach creativity.
Absolutely. So now let's move on to our next piece, Whispers of the Wild by Aisha Qureshi. Eco-criticism offers a captivating lens through which to explore the bond between literature and the natural world, urging us to reflect on how stories shape and mirror our views of the environment. This approach encourages a deeper connection to nature by spotlighting issues like environmental harm, the need for conservation, and the effects of human actions on ecosystems. Within this context, we find eco-horror, a genre where nature turns against us. In these tales, the environment and its creatures strike back at human intrusion or neglect, serving as a stark reminder of the potential fallout from exploiting our planet. Eco-horror masterfully uses fear to provoke thought about ecological changes we face, nudging us to reconsider how we interact with our world. By casting nature as a formidable adversary, these stories challenge us to face our fears about environmental disasters and rethink our role in preserving the earth for future generations. Nature's Revenge, the Eco-Gothic Perspective. Eco-Gothic is the combination of ecology and Gothic horror literature. The genre illustrates the involvement of nature as the active component of the plot development. In the literature of eco-Gothic nature, it is presented as the component of agency and something that can oppose the forces that oppose it. It is believed that the horror element Jason can be treated as eco-Gothic character since it represents the nightmare that humanity faced regarding the pollution of the environment. The concept appeared after such tragedies as the disaster in Chernobyl. By combining ecology with horror, eco-horror reveals how some of the greatest threats are a result of what we have done ourselves. The fusion of horror and ecology helps to create works of literature that make people think about the problems of climate change, destruction of the environment, and the vulnerability of man in nature. It is not just about scaring the reader, it's about making him think. Some of the famous authors of eco-criticism or eco-horror genre are first the Jeff Vandermeer's Annihilation, a team of scientists exploring Area X as abandoned coastal wilderness where nature has reclaimed the land and mutated the biology in terrifying, uncanny ways. Second is Scott Smith's The Ruins, which explores the slow, horrifying demise of a group of vacationers who stumble upon an isolated Mayan ruin in Mexico, only to realize the surrounding jungle, specifically a parasitic, carnivorous vine, is intelligent and out to get them. Third and the last one is Samantha Schweblin's Fever Dream. It translates fear of environmental toxicity and pesticide use into a haunting, hallucinatory tale of dying women and a young boy talking about a catastrophic ecological event in rural Argentina.
I think this article does a wonderful job of reminding us that environment is just as important as humans.
Yes, indeed.
Our next stop is Beyond the Classrooms by Kanis Khan. When one says he or she studies English, the common reaction comes with a question, so do you only read novels? As a student of literature, there is far more to this subject than just novels. English makes us discover stories, philosophies, and sometimes even ourselves through the poetry, novels, plays, and essays. We come to know of various ways of thinking through poems. We either empathize or oppose the ideology expressed by the author. We even learn how to articulate what we feel. Discussion never ends with class hours. In the hallways, in canteens, and in groups working on projects, we have seminars, literary events, debates, reading sessions in which we get a chance to express our views and hear other perspectives. All of this silently teaches us self confidence and respect for each other and every point of view. One of the biggest things English teaches us is empathy. When we read stories of people who live different lives in different circumstances in different places, we understand the commonality of human emotions across all generations, cultures, and nationalities. English department is not just a place for mastering language and literary techniques, but rather an environment where questions are always welcome, creativity encouraged, and friendships forged through discussion and exchange of ideas. However, learning in English is much more than a classroom activity. The path of an English student is one of constant education and exploration of literature, people, society, and oneself. Ultimately, what literature can teach us best is empathy. Literature is not about finding the right answers, it is about asking better questions and understanding people more deeply.
Literature is not about finding the right answers, it's about asking better questions and understanding people more deeply. What a wonderful idea to take away.
And finally, what literature has to say to you by Rashi Poonja.
Every morning starts with looking outwards. Before we have had the time to think about our own day and listen to our own thoughts, we have already scrolled past others' days, their opinions, and watched the fragments of life carefully arranged for us to consume. Perhaps there is where the questioning begins, if we are ever enough. Living in an age where detachment is often mistaken for strength and caring too much is seen as dramatic, we think feeling deeply can be too much. It almost seems as though we have been taught to wear our emotions lightly, as if sincerity has become something to outgrow. It was just in the middle of another ordinary day that I was listening to the song Tu Koi Aur Hai by A.R. Rahman, and a question quietly lingered. In the constant pursuit of trying to be someone else, are we forgetting who we are? It made me wonder if this weirdly constant feeling of disconnect is something new, or did it quietly exist with people who always search for themselves in the midst of the noisy world? And perhaps, for people like us, literature existed. Poetry existed. Poetry has always had a way to make us feel at home. In one of my recent lectures, our professor talked about romanticism, the time when poetry evolved to something that gave humans and their thoughts a space to exist. Before the Romantics, poetry largely belonged to the rules, form, and an educated few. The Romanticist poets widened the door for everyone. They believed humans were limitless and that their thoughts mattered. Suddenly, a child's imagination mattered, nature mattered, emotions mattered. All of this lived through the poets who chose to write so vividly and honestly about the world around them, and also the one within them. The spirit did not end with the Romantics. Poets across the centuries continued to write in different eras and circumstances while reminding us in their own ways that our inner lives are worthy of being heard. William Wordsworth taught us to melt into nature and use it to connect it with ourselves and to find wonder in the most ordinary things of the world. A field of daffodils became something extraordinary just because someone stopped to pay attention. He believed that nature is a mirror in which you earn the right to see yourself in. Then came John Keats, who reminded us that vulnerability often is the greatest strength that we carry. Even when confronting the most fragile moments of life, he chose to write about its beauty. He believed that honesty lied in writing from inside of his own fragility. Later, Sylvia Plath's poetry gave voice to the feelings many of us struggle to name. Mary Oliver once asked in her poem, "Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?" Which made us think what it truly meant to be alive. Literature has always given space for every thought to exist. It reminds us of who we have always been. Not that we must become extraordinary, but that there has always been something extraordinary in simply being human. If literature could leave us a note to us, it would ask us to notice, to imagine, and to feel without apology. So, whenever the world grows too loud, you could always return to the pages that taught you to wonder, and to the poems that gave a language to the feelings you could not name. Return to the voices that remind you that your inner world is worthy enough to exist. And in returning to literature, you're only ever returning to yourself.
What a lovely way to wrap up our articles. Now comes my favorite part.
Your next mission, should you choose to accept it, is Operation Globe Hunt. Hidden across this edition are tiny globes waiting to be discovered. Count them carefully and submit your answers via the QR code or link. The first 10 correct entries will unlock an exclusive interaction with the editorial team. Good luck, agents! And that's a wrap on this episode.
Thank you for spending a little time with us. Whether you listened because you were on the go, because reading isn't easy today, or simply because you wanted company, we are really happy you were here.
If you enjoy this audio edition, please let us know. We would love to make it a regular part of our future newsletters.
Until next time, keep reading.
Keep writing.
And keep the conversation going. And we are clear.
Did we do it?
Can we keep that last bit?
Yes.